Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Chris McGee alongside Robert Horry, James Worthy. Got Mike Trudell out in Denver. The Lakers with a huge win over the Nuggets. They fell behind by as many as 16 big game. One of the hardest fought victories of the year. Luka was fantastic, a 38-point triple-double. They got some great performances from LeBron and other role players that we'll get into. But the story of the game for me, Laker defense. They held Denver, and you just heard LeBron talk about it with Mike, to 36 second-half points. And the adjustments they made at halftime on Jamal Murray were key, running guys off the three-point line, doubling Jamal. He had 26 points in the first half, only 2 in the second half. And, James, here's the key, man. Out-rebounded Denver by 20.
Yeah, I think in the second half, particularly third quarter, I think they scored like, what, 30, 37 or something in the first quarter, 34 or something, whatever. That total for 71, but only 36, I think. 34 in that second half. They were tracking that. And I think they got their rotations down. The communication was better. They didn't get as many open, uncontested shots, and then they didn't get second shots. And that was the key to playing good defense. 24 seconds, and then securing the ball, getting out with a little pace themselves.
I think for me, it was the bench. You know, we always talk about the starters so much, and we talk about the lack of scoring that we get from the bench. Tonight, the bench had 32 compared to their 20, and that's the key, especially with Jackson Hayes being a plus 16. That's amazing. And for me, when you always talk about the superstars, they're going to do their thing, but this road trip, it's going to be all about their bench, too. If the bench is able to step up and knock down some big shots. With Ayton going out, I thought what Jackson Hayes was able to do was key for the Lakers to get that victory. And you know, you think about it, 17-16 in the second half, that's huge.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Rob. We'll get into the role players in a moment. Of course, the 2 stars did their thing. We'll get into them. But let's start with that third quarter run. Big game. Listen, at the end of the first half, it was a 14-3 and an 8-0 run by Denver to go up 14. Jamal Murray hits a 60-footer. Lakers came out in that third quarter. They changed the way they play D, and look at it right there, 29-17. They were 13 of 22. They held Denver to 7 of 21, just 1 of 7 from 3 after they hit 9 in the first quarter, in 12 at halftime, and they out-rebounded them by 6. You see it right there. The numbers don't lie. That's where the Lakers got back in this game.
Well, you're going to have games. You're going to have halves like that where teams are just scorching hot. And a lot of times, you know, you just can't do anything about it except try to get to the shots and not let them be, you know, uncontested. I thought in the second half, you know, obviously they're a little colder, but I thought the defense, and this right here, put a lot of pressure on their defense. They were just force them into some tougher shots, and then they were able to get out on the break. I thought, like Rob said, the role player, especially Timmy, I'm starting to love this kid.
Yeah, me too.
He comes in, plays fundamentally sound, 9 points, and, you know, in the second half, they just were connected together defensively, and you know, they put up a resistance for Denver. They didn't get the easy shots. They were a little bit more physical. I thought Marcus, Van, all those guys coming in with a little perimeter defense, and they didn't get as easy targets.
For me, it's the way you approach the game. Their approach in the first half was like, oh, we playing good defense, but they were still knocking down shots. And it says sometimes when you're shooting the ball that good, it's hard to continue in the second half because if you look at the difference, they had a lot of role players knocking down shots. You had Jones, you had Pickett. All these guys were knocking down shots. But in the second half, it went away because reality sets in. You know, you was playing with house money in the first half, but the second half is when reality check and say, oh, we got to lock in on this guy. The defense is a little tighter. What are you going to do under this pressure? Are you able to withstand this lead? And they weren't. And I just really appreciate how, you know, the Lakers didn't like say, oh, panic. They realized, oh, man, this is going to happen again where guys get hot. Just not let it continue in the second half.
Rob, the reason why I mentioned that hard-fought battle, and Stu and Billy mentioned this as well, the Lakers did not have a lead until they got into that fourth quarter. And they had about, I think we were right, it was about 4 chances to get it. They still didn't get it, but they stayed true to what they were doing, kept getting rebounds, kept attacking. Once they took the lead, they never let it go. They outscored Denver by 10 in that fourth.
Yeah, taking the lead with, you know, keeping that lead is so important. You know, I just was sitting there watching the Purdue and UCLA game, had back and forth. But this game, once the Lakers say, okay, it's our lead, we're going to take this lead, we're going to hold it. And I think when you watch these guys play defense, they were locked in. And one of the things that I was taught is like you contest all shots. And I think every 3 that the Denver Nuggets took, it was contested shot. It was somewhere, at some point, it was getting out there. You know, usually Jamal Murray in the fourth quarter, he's a Laker killer, but he wasn't able to do his thing in the fourth quarter because of guys like Jackson Hayes when he switched out, because of Smart being on him, because of that tenacity that you do defensively. locked in. You know what was really shocking to me, though, and I appreciate it? Usually when you hit a big shot like they did at the end of the quarter, end of the half, it kind of demoralizes the team.
I'm glad the half was over.
Yeah.
Because they came out cold.
They came out like, okay, we ready. And, you know,
Yeah.
it was just, you really have to applaud the way the Lakers played defensively. I know everybody wants to talk about the offense, but the whole team at 107 in their building, it shows you they were really locked in.
So LeBron was 19, 9, and 8 tonight, 8 of 15, over 50%. And Luka, who we'll talk about now, James, listen, you said it when we were watching the game in the first quarter. He's on a mission tonight. He had 16 first quarter points. He ends up with 38 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. He was 11 of 12 from the free throw line. And he had his 52nd 30-point triple-double to move one ahead of Jokic. The Big O obviously still in the lead. Hello, 106 of those. Luka, his 87th overall triple-double, 7th most all-time. He was magnificent.
You could tell from the beginning that he was not going to be playing around in Denver. He was aggressive. He was, you know, very aggressive, as I said, getting to the cup, looking for his shots, looking to draw fouls. And he just wanted to get the team going. But Denver was so hot, but it didn't really, you know, match to a lead. But Gator, he just continues to just light it up. I mean, tonight I thought he was really aggressive, trying to get to the bucket, trying to get some points in there early, and then he got the assist.
Yeah, you know, thinking 38 points, 35 minutes on the 21 shots. You know, that was very efficient. You know, he made his buckets at the free throw line, which was really important, 11 for 12. And when Luka was able to play like that, you know, you always I love to look at the number of shots a guy's taking versus number of points. If you shooting more shots than you got points, it's a problem. But when you look at the way Luka now, he shot over 50%, so I'm happy with that. That's the key. When you take as many shots as a lot of players do, and you don't shoot 50%, I'm having a problem with that. But he shot 50%. He carried the team. He got guys involved, because that shows that with the triple-double. He was boxing out. And think about it, Luka almost played a perfect game, except for one thing, that tech. Come on, Luka, you got 13
got 13 techs.
You got 13 techs, you only get 3 more. So you got to be careful.
It got there quick.
Yes, yes.
It got there quick. I'm glad you mentioned Drew Timme. He had 9. Rui had 9. You guys both mentioned him, yeah. Gabe Vincent added 5. Rui with 9 off the bench. And then you got to throw Marcus Smart into that. 15 points. That's 47 points between those 5 guys. Vando did it on the defensive end as well. So Marcus Smart, couple of huge threes, took a charge. Really nice job. Time to hear from Coach J.J. Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
Took it in a normal.
JJ it by 14. I think it's either 36 or 37 points to hold him to in the second half, and it looked like you were putting 2 on the ball.
36.
36. Thank you. Yeah, 17 plus 17. What was the main difference, and how did you feel like that more attention on Murray changed things?
Well, it took him out of his rhythm. You know, by the time he had taken a shot in the second half, it was well into the fourth quarter. So that's the first thing. I mean, it's just literally, let's get the ball out of his hands.